right, well, here we are with another CHC Quarantine Cam Zoom meeting, and today we've got 4 special guests down in South Texas. These guys have been working Colts together this morning, and we thought we'd get them on a Zoom call and see what they've been up to. We've got on the far right, on my right, you can see Mr. Craig Thompson, 2-time Futurity champion. Mr. Jonathan Rogers, how are you, Jono?
Hello.
Justin White, Mr. Non-Pro Futurity champion there. And then we've got Thomas Bray on the end. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Good to be with you.
So, so tell me, what have you guys been doing? Like, how's this affected your business down there?
Well, I'll start. It's I mean, I've had a few weekend horses go home. I've got quite a few amateurs and weekend cutters, and had a few weekend horses go home. But other than that, it's stayed pretty steady.
Yeah. What about you, Craig?
It's really no changes. I'm blessed and thankful to have some really good people that have been with me a long time. And we mainly have young horses, so they still want to get their young horses trained. But as far as a change, just a lot of family time, which has been really nice. Both of my boys have been home from school. This was actually the first year I've ever been home for my youngest son's birthday. So that was pretty special. Even though we didn't get to do anything, it's still special to be there. And just thankful for all the family time that we've had.
Yeah, I know. I mean, your boys big in baseball and other sports as well, and my boys too. And that's one of the things that I've really missed, is being able to go and watch them play and go be a part of that a little bit. It's kind of weird not having any baseball.
Yeah, 10 years ago, I've been having a fit right now, but I've kind of been through the process and through the cycle of both of them going up through sports. And man, it's such a blessing to be home, and we're all 4 just at home for a little while, and it makes you really appreciate it,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I think we're really going to come back better and stronger from this deal, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. Yeah, I think so too. I think, everybody's had time to kind of reflect and maybe just sit back and look at their programs a little bit and see where they can improve or where they can do some things different. Jono, what about you? How's this affected your business?
It really hasn't changed it at all. Like the same as Craig, we got a bunch of young horses, and I've got some good people that's supporting me, and they've all stayed and been very supportive through it. The same, we've got a lot of ranch work done, got a lot of stuff done on my place, and it's the first time I've been home this time of year in 20 years, so it's been really nice, actually.
What about you, Thomas? I know, your program's been up and coming quite a bit here lately, and I know some of these guys sitting next to you, they're your mentors, and you're getting to spend a little extra time around them. What have you been up to?
Well, the way it's affected my business is I've lost some 2-year-olds. That's mainly what I have, because there's no shows, and they're all home, so they need to, they can ride them. So I've lost a few horses, but for the other part, it's kind of been nice, really, not kind of having a lot and getting to spend a lot of time with my friends and especially my family.
Yeah, and your young boy too. I'm sure you're getting a little extra time in with him too.
Oh, I'm ready for him to go back to school.
He's ready for you to go back to work too, I mean.
Tater Tot, he's a handful now.
Yeah. So what are some of the things you guys are looking forward to getting back to showing? Craig, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm ready to get back to showing, get back to a normal routine. I know my muffin top is, because it's wild and out of control. I don't know how much this quarantine I'm going to be able to handle without having to go buy new pants and new shirts, So I'm just trying to get a hold of that right now.
I think we all fall into that bucket, literally.
Yeah, definitely.
Jono, what about you? What are you looking forward to when we get back to going again?
Oh, yes. Most of my people are ready to go show. They are definitely ready, and so am I. I mean, it's a little bit too much time on the ranch. I'm getting just a little bit crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys, I mean, you're all from that South Texas area, and that's where you do a majority of your showing down there. Places like Gonzales, Texas, cutting. The 3.5 Amigos, the Brenham, Texas, the Blue Bonnets, and that. What do you all like about those cuttings? And tell us maybe something that really stands out to you about that area, those cuttings, for you guys compared to maybe some other areas.
Well, I personally think the cows are pretty darn good at both of those cuttings. You can go get your horse shown. If you need to work it, to prepare for an age event, it's a good place to do that as well. And it's most of the time a lot of fun. Somebody's going to aggravate you for sure.
Good camaraderie.
So it makes it fun, and it's not too far from home is another good thing. So I enjoy both of them.
Well, and I think those shows are pretty well run down there too.
I think Belton's going to be a nice place to go show eventually, once they kind of get a program down and get consistent with their setup and stuff, especially in the summertime with the air conditioning.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, for the weekends, you don't have to have all those stalls like we did for the age event, which was a bit of a problem there. But for the weekends, I mean, that's what we'd heard nothing but great things about that facility, leading up to the Bonanza. So that's great. So how Thomas, how important is the weekend programming, for your training operation?
Well, it's good for my program because I get to be seen and I get to be around good friends and, just keep learning, learning new things, and mainly in my part, just learning how to get better and show better. So, yes, sir.
Yeah. Justin, what about you?
The majority of the horses I have, the outside horses, are weekend horses. And, of course, I have some nice young horses, too. But I've got some really nice weekend horses to go compete on and win money on. And also getting to show with these guys all the time around here, it makes you better. And the camaraderie and the competition. And I know all three of these guys here, all four of us, we all help each other and all help each other try to beat each other. And I enjoy the competition and camaraderie.
Yeah. So, one of the things with cutting, and we all kind of have that gotcha moment that got us all kind of hooked on cutting. And some of you guys, I know you've got family in it, but maybe you can each, just tell us what is something that when you first kind of got introduced to cutting that kind of got you hooked. Craig, if you want to start, we'll kind of work down the line.
It started for me at a very young age, just riding pretty much just backyard cutters with me and my grandfather, that we basically just started on our own and, really didn't have much of a training program, and just that thrill of working the same cows for about 2 years and never got old and never really showed or had a trained horse, but, just pinning one up against the fence and going holding it, just started at a very young age for me. Still have it to this day. I think it ought to be against the law to sell a cow or ship a cow that hadn't been worked.
Oh, great.
Amen to that. Jono?
Well, I really didn't get to ride one until I was probably 25-ish, I guess, right in there. And it's the most fun thing that I've ever done that's legal. And it just helped me. It picked me up out of the gutter and helped me.
Gave me some direction.
It gave me a little direction, a little try and something besides moonshine.
There you go.
Moonshine and hot rod.
That's it.
Well, I know Dave Stewart was a big part of your program too, and he's a pretty good guy to hang around and teach you some things too.
Oh yeah. That Dave Stewart, he sure showed me that you can make a living and enjoy doing what you love. And he's a horse training son of a gun. So I had a lot of fun working for him.
Yeah.
And on trying to veer from the outlaw ways was a little hard. No, he's been a good mentor and a good friend for a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Justin, what about you?
I showed when I was young and growing up, I really wasn't into horses a whole lot. Of course, I grew up, my dad was a trainer and I grew up on a ranch, but I was more into sports and baseball and stuff like that. I showed my first horse when I was 11, and my parents had an old Boone bar gelding, and Shaboon, and
Shaboon.
I'd ride a little bit. I'd practice out there for showing, and my dad, he was going to actually Blue Bonnet one day. Blue Bonnet was the first place I showed. He said, "Hey, you want to go show?" And but yeah, I'll go try it out. And I think the first time I showed, I marked like a 71.5 or something. But I was hooked from then. Like, man, cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Thomas, what about you? How'd you get in the spot where you're at today, hanging around with these outlaws?
Well, just being down here in South Texas, and I don't remember how old I was, but very first time I ever showed was at Waller County Fairgrounds, is down the road, and I guess just getting that first impression of that horse, doing it on its own, and you know, that feeling that you'll never forget the very first time you ride a cutting horse.
The boom shakalaka. You
Yeah,
felt the
yeah,
boom
yeah,
shakalaka.
Yeah. Nice. Well, Craig, tell us a little bit. I mean, you know, you've probably shown more than any of these guys, and obviously had quite a bit of success. I mean, everybody has that one thing in there, you know, when you get ready to walk to the herd, what is something that you really focus on, maybe that you struggle with a little bit, or that you have to really pay extra attention to in your program, whether it's the clock or driving out or, you know, things like that? Tell us a little bit about something that you really have to focus on.
It's mainly just reviewing and trying to get my cow list in order. You know, all of us want to go down there and cut the best 2 to 3 cows that we possibly can. And that's been something that I try to consistently work on, is just having the right cows in the right order, you know, to get my horse showed, and you know, just basically just stay on top of that, and trying to make that perfect clean, or not, I wouldn't say perfect, but the cleanest cut in the middle of the pen that I can.
Well, winning the Futurity from the last hole, I think you've got the cow picking down. You got some good helping you too, obviously. But.
Well, man, it's as tough as it is right now. I mean, you still got to work at it. You know, I mean, it's a cow picking contest, and you got to be on top of it and continually try to improve and just continually to work hard at it.
Yeah. JR, what about you? You got something that you really try to focus on?
Well, I try to pick the best cows that fits my horse. What can my horse do? So I really focus on knowing what my horse can and can't do. So most of the time myself, I need a cow that jerks me around to get me and the horse loosened up. And then after that, I may go a little blank. My partner reel me back in. But I'm, you know, same thing, middle of the pen, get started, try to show that you want to win, take those chances when you really don't want to. Just there again, it's so tough. If you don't take them, then you're just part of adding money.
Else will.
Yes. Somebody else
you
will.
leave that good cow behind.
Yes.
You're going to see it the next rider right after you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Normally every time.
And get a little lesson from it.
There is no worse feeling watching somebody else cut a cow that you opted off on in the last minute, and then see them lay down a win and run on that cow.
And you got to stick with your plan. Everyone that goes and shows normally has a plan, and when you veer off of it, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work like you want it. So if you stay on the plan, then if it doesn't work, then you're still, you know, you've done the best you could. So I try to just focus the same and cut the cows that fit my horse and try to get them cut as clean as I can.
Yeah. Justin, what about you? You obviously you started, like you said, you didn't start real young, but you showed quite a bit as a non-pro, and then obviously had some really good success winning the non-pro Futurity, and then winning the Derby the following year. What was it like for you, that transition going from a non-pro to an open trainer, when you decided to turn your card in?
I was wishing I had my non-pro card back. It's a whole different ball game. It's made me I struggled and still struggle a lot, but it's made me a better. I learned a lot. You get beat enough, you figure out ways to kind of scratch in there, and it's made, for me, I feel like it's made me a little better horseman, horse trainer, showman. It's just a whole nother level.
Husband.
I feel like I've got that down pretty good.
Whoa.
Kahan, I can't say Kahan, but she's holding the phone. So.
It was a huge transition. It was, but I'm glad I did. It's made me, I feel better, and I feel like it's still having to work to get better, but it sure helped my horse, just being a horseman.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Thomas, you're just kind of getting onto the show scene the last few years and already having some success, especially in the limited division. You've started a lot of colts. That's kind of your bread and butter. What's maybe a 2-year-old that you've started that's gone on to do well that you wish you could have back now to go show?
I don't.
He's
I have
gonna
to
show
think
him
about
at Futurity.
Yeah, the one that get to show at the Futurity
Yeah,
for JR.
He's got a good one. He started
He really does.
and doing good this year. It's a very good horse.
Very nice horse.
Yeah.
The best is yet to come with Thomas. Yeah. It's just in the oven right now.
It's cooking.
Yeah.
That's right.
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
So Thomas, I mean, you're making that transition now. What is your favorite part though of the whole process from starting a colt to going and showing? Do you have a favorite part that you like? You know?
Probably at this point right now, taking the Colts, from January 1st to now, and we got to stay home a lot, and now we're getting to work out of the herd, and they're kind of wanting to take over a little bit and stuff. And I just think, you see a lot of progression in a short period of time, which I think later on from their 2-year-old year to their 3-year-old year, they don't, or maybe, up to that show point, it's just they don't progress as fast as they do as when they're younger, like right now.
Yeah.
But I sure do like from the outlaws you get, and then when you get 30 days on them, and then when you get 60 days on them, and then 90 days, just it's a good feeling that knowing that they're not going to buck or knowing that they're not going to do something ignorant, and, right off across the pasture one-handed, I like having a broke horse. And I think that's what it takes is a lot of wet saddle blankets.
Yeah, for sure. So Craig, going back to you now with your show career and everything you've done, you've had quite a few high points, but I know there's had to have been some low points like we've all had. Tell us maybe about, not too much detail, but maybe tell us about a low point in your program and how you were able to bounce back from that. What did you do to kind of change the direction?
If you cut very long, you're going to have a low point. I don't care who you are. Everybody that I know, from Paul Hansman to Matt Gaines, myself included, I mean, any one of these guys, we've all reached that point where like, man, what are we doing here? And I definitely had that when I came home moved back from Strong Valley Ranch. The first year I made the Futurity finals, I worked at Strong Valley Ranch, and I was thinking about this the other day. Well, I had 2 horses in the finals the first year that I made the Futurity, and one of them I was 3rd on, and one of them I was 11th on, and I didn't realize that at the time. My goal was, hey, just go make the finals and get showed the best you can. But I appreciate it a lot more now.
Yeah.
But I had some success at Strong Valley, and then when I come home and started my own deal at Buffalo, I had several people that supposedly had committed and was going to send horses and stuff. Well, I hung my shingle out there and got ready, and I was eager, ready to go to work. Well, a lot of those horses didn't show up, so I kind of scratched my head with that for a little while. And then a lot of the horses that did come in had already been horses that had been kind of passed around and, had some issues and stuff like that. And I mean, all you can do is just go to work and grind it out and keep trying. Nobody's going to hand it to you, especially in this deal. And you just got to figure out a way to stay consistent and as positive as you can and just grind it out each day, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And obviously, I mean, you guys have got some, you guys bounce a lot off each other, and I'm sure talk about a lot of things, problems you're having with a colt or, a situation. And that's a big part of everybody's program too. There's a lot of cohesion between the guys, and picking each other up when you do see one guy get down. I've seen that a lot too. And that's one of the cool things about, we keep saying the cutting family, but that's truly what it is. That's kind of the cool thing about it. But Jono, what's kind of a high point in your career that maybe changed direction a little bit, changed the way that your program was?
Well, I guess probably when I went to go around there at Fort Worth, it kind of, I was excited, and I thought, well, maybe I can do this. It gave me a little bit more try.
Was that on Hawkeye?
No, it was on that Gray Smart Mate Guild. Actually tied to win the round with Roger Wagner, which is a phenomenal hand. And shoot, I didn't know how to handle it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do this. So to me, that made me try even harder, because next round I come back marked 212 and barely made the semis, and he marked another 20. So, you know, I kind of learned how to handle having a good horse and the pressure, because it, you know, winning the round came to me with a lot of pressure. I'm like, man, now they expect me to do that, which is not true, because everybody knows how hard it is. You can win the round or be winning the round in one cow and losing the round in the second cow. So everybody, and that's what finally soaked in, is everybody struggles. So to me, that was my high point of getting excited to the bottom, back up, and just kind of leveling out and fighting through it. Like I said, just keep working.
Yeah.
But a good horse will make you real intelligent. Everybody's like, man, what's he doing? Well, he's got a good horse.
I think you gotta figure out and find a way to not beat yourself. Because all these guys, everybody that we show and compete against, they're gonna go do their job. You ain't gotta worry about that. It's a matter of, hey, am I going to step up and do my job as far as executing on the cut? I have my horse prepared. You know, that's what I have to focus on, because everybody else, they're going to do their job, especially when you get up there. You know, as tough as it is right now, it's anybody's show. Anybody can go to that herd and win the cutting. You know?
And I think Jono kind of touched on there too. The other point there is, you know, you can't get too high with the highs and you can't get too low with the lows. You have to keep that mental focus. You know, whether you just won the round, I mean, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. You got to go with what you've got facing you right now. And
that's one of the biggest things that I got from Matt Gaines, because, you know, Clint and I worked for Matt, and when Matt was coming up, and I mean, obviously he's a great hand, but when he was coming up, I mean, it's just such an honor and a blessing to watch him evolve. But his deal was being consistent, and it still is today, you know. So I think that's just, you got to figure out a way to be consistent and not beat yourself.
And have a short memory.
Yeah.
Don't let your emotions take over.
Trust the process.
Yeah. So Justin, your dad, John White, recently got inducted into the NCHA Hall of Fame. I know you guys are close. What did that mean for you?
Oh, it meant the world. You know, I spend every day with my dad. He down here every day when I work horses, and usually shaking his head at me or something, telling me what I'm doing wrong. We argue back and forth, but it just, you know, he's cutting, and especially, you know, growing up, my dad had a lot of amateurs, and he loved to teach people to cut and start people in the business. And he's one of the few that he, or one of the many, but that really just cares about the best in the whole for cutting. He loves horses, he loves cutting, and you know, he never asked for anything in return. Just to see him get honored like that, because it meant a lot. It meant the world.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It was a great story, and it was great to see him, you know, get that honor. So yeah, for sure. So Thomas, back to you. What advice, mate, do you have for some aspiring 2-year-old guys, you know, that are looking to kind of make a name for themselves in this business? I mean, obviously it's kind of a tough time right now, but talk about maybe some advice you have, or some, you know, things you need to diversify on, or what do you have? What suggestions?
Be honest, work hard, and be able to take criticism. And listen, you know, anybody can teach you something. Anybody can. You just have to be focused enough to be able to turn down the bad and take on the good.
Yeah, no, that's some great advice. Woo! I feel like we need a drink, guys. So I can't leave without asking Jono. You're always the voice in the background. You know, quite often late in the day after maybe you know, a little lubrication, but you're always back there cheering people on. And you know, even the times that I'm there, Will Rogers, when I used to webcast the shows there, sitting down in the dungeon, I could hear exactly you right outside the dungeon there, just cheering for people. What is it that keeps you going, and what makes you motivated to do that? What do you like about it?
Well, I like to see people have a good time, and I love to watch a good horse. So I don't care who's riding it. And a lot of people, well, you can see them struggling mentally down there, and they might just need hey, come on now. And turned the whole run around. I watched it. I watched it change. So I don't like to see anyone struggle. And like I say, I like to. I mean, it's a horse show. It's a horse show. I'm gonna try to beat them.
Yeah.
But also, I want them to do good. So give yourself a goal. I mean, now don't get me wrong. If I'm winning the round or winning the cutting, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Ooh.
But I just, like I said, I like to see people smile. It's fun. It's a it's a horse show. It's not about the person. It's about the horse.
Unless somebody loses a hat or something, he'll be.
Whoa! Well, I heard some bad news about Mr. Ralph passing away, so somebody's going to pick up the slack when you have that miss. And you're sitting over, whoa, look out here. So I guess that's going to be me.
I bet there's been some people that all of a sudden you've started cheering for, and they're wondering, who is that guy? I've never had So wrapping it up, you guys all worked some 3-year-olds this morning. Who's got the winner?
Oh, big guy down here just slung dirt all over the pen like always. Mr. Positive, just hand up, hand down. It's just piss a guy off.
We knew it was going to be that way when we said we were going to work today.
I was taking notes today.
Yeah.
Them other 3 are all going to the small fraternities now.
What's that now?
Said them other 3 have just decided to go to Amarillo instead. Huh?
Yeah, we did it real quick.
Yeah.
I think we've all got one that we probably feel pretty good about, maybe.
Well,
It's a pretty level playing field when you get that fraternity. There's lots of things that can happen. So never count yourself out.
Pre-works don't pay very well.
No.
They don't. No, we've seen that time and time again. We've all seen that star that's, popped up at pre-works, and that's the one. And we've seen a bunch of them not make it out of the first go around.
Whole different game when those lights come home. You got to put that hand down.
So, and we've all had that horse that we had high expectations on, and all of a sudden, like you said, when the lights came on or that arena or something different about it, that something changed. Yeah. Well, guys, I want to thank you all so much for taking the time and sitting down with us. Glad you guys are doing good down there, and it was great to catch up and see how you all are doing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You bet. Well, take care, and we'll see you at the show pen soon.
Yep. Thank you.